bunch of awards and stuff. Well, we have to open the public hearing, I think, so we have to. We have a lot of awards, okay, thank you. Oh. Okay, okay. Okay, oh, yeah. Can I get a motion to come out of executive session for the police?
Motion to come out of exec session.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Pledge allegiance.
No. We didn't even open it, so we don't have to close it. Okay. Okay, welcome everybody to the Town of Orangetown Town Board meeting on March 7th, 2023, and Town Clerk on the roll call.
Councilman Tom Timoney.
Here.
Councilman Paul Valentine.
Here.
Councilman Jerry Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilman Brian Donahue.
Here.
Supervisor Teresa Kenny.
Here, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and again, we'll have Councilman Valentine starting first.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we have a few announcements, but before I get started, I was told I have to congratulate the Tappan Z. Is playing Horsehead tomorrow at Yorktown High School. They won the section one. This is basketball, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
They won the section. I know. Did they beat Pearl River? Is that a sore spot down there?
Yes.
Sorry, they beat Pearl. I'm trying to be very. But anyway, so congratulations. They won section one, and they're now moving up in the state playoffs. So congratulations to the boys Tappan Z basketball team. Okay. Oh, I don't think I'm on. Okay. Okay, we have a few announcements. The 59th Annual Rockland County St. Patrick's Day Parade in Pearl River is going to be on Sunday, March 19th at 1:30, rain or shine. The 2023 Military Tribute Banner Program is opened. The deadline to order a New Year banner will be Friday, April 14th. They're the banners you see all around town, which are really nice to see. Orangetown, one of our favorite events, Orangetown Shredding Event, will be Saturday, April 15th. That's hosted by our town clerk with Rockland Green and People to People, and it's from 8 to 11:30. We have some presentations. I can tell by the crowd here that we have some presentations. So we're going to call up first Eagle Scout Jack Gannon. Is he here? You can come on up here. So I'm just going to tell everybody, so Jack, he did a large outdoor creche for St. Anne's Catholic Church. Very impressive. Did you do it all by yourself?
No, I had thankfully a lot of help from both my troop. My grandfather's right over there, both of them.
Okay, thank you. And you're, okay, very good. So this again is from the entire town board, so we want to thank you. Thank you for your service. And we're going to, if you don't want to come up, you can stand up here. We'll take a picture. You can stand here and we'll get a picture of the town board. Okay, good round. It's fun as the camera. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Does any of his family members want to take a picture at all? Oh, I did. You got it? Okay, you're good, okay. Okay, we have presentations for 2023 National Sisters Week and Women's History Month, which is the week of March 8th to the 14th, honoring Sister Mary Collins and Sister Mary Flood of the Sisters of St. Dominic of Blauvelt, and Sister Grace Hogan and Sister Aileen Donovan of the Dominican Sisters of Sparkill. Are they here? Okay. Okay, we have lots of certificates here. Okay, so I need Sister Grace Hogan. Thank you so much. You're more than welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have Sister Aileen Donovan. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Sister Marianne Collins.
Thank you.
And Sister Okay.
You just want to turn around? And ladies, oh, sorry, ladies, turn here. Turn here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sister.
have the presentations for the 2023 Irish Cultural Heritage Month. Honoring, we have Larry DeGennaro. Is Larry here? Hey, Larry, come on up. Larry is the Hibernian of the Year. You gotta stay here till we're done. Next, we have Brita Lyons and Catherine Levins, Hibernian Business People of the Year. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Okay, we have Sheriff Louis Falcons, the parade commander. Thank you. Okay, I'm told Tom Levy is not feeling well. He's not here tonight, but we do have a family member representing him. I think his sister Marion's here. I think he's been too much partying since he got named Marshal. Oh, does he? Oh, boy. Well, at least he'll be better for the parade. And we have Dennis Toll, aide to the Grand Marshal. Oh, okay. And then we have Loretta Reedy, President Ladies Ancient Order of Hibernians. She sends her regrets, okay. Okay. So we're going to take a photo. Congratulations, guys. Thank you.
Congratulations, brother. All right.
Okay. Oh, we can. We are going to be workshopping our agenda. For any of those who want to make a run for it, we'll give you 5 minutes. If you're not out, you got to sit through the whole meeting.
Lock the doors.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sister.
Same story. Wow. We got the lady. Trying to figure it out.
Okay.
All right.
They made their escape. Okay, so
All
we're
right. We've got a couple more people leaving. All right. We have nobody here. Want to close the doors?
Carmela's working on it.
Oh. It was. It was off, then I turned it on. Okay. Maybe I hit it. Okay, I think everyone escaped who wanted to. Okay, so we're going to workshop quickly our agenda items. Number 3 is request for demapping of Second Street and Pearl River. I think this is more of a technical thing. Number 5, authorize the removal of Second Street from the town tax map, West Carroll Street, West Crooked Hill Road, Pearl River. Okay, that's the same thing, okay.
More people.
Right, that's the same thing, right, that's the demapping, is it? Or is it?
Yeah.
It seemed like an extra thing, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm kidding.
Okay. Number 6, continuation of the public hearing on the comprehensive plan. Number 7, number 8, that's all related to the comp plan. Number 9 is county comments. Number 10 is, again, the comp plan. Number 11 is open a public hearing regarding an opt-out of an energy system exemption. Well, I'll let Rob explain that one to you. That's through 13. 14, approve the agreement with EV Connect at the Pearl River train station. This is the current, for the charging stations. We already have an agreement with them. This is extending it. Number 15, appoint members to the Orangetown Parks and Rec Development Advisory Committee. Number 16, appoint Stephen Siafi, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but to the Board of Ethics. We had someone who had stepped down, so that's replacing the open spot on the Board of Ethics. Number 17, accepting the resignation of an employee. Number 18, approval to apply for funding for this, basically for sidewalks on Middletown Road. Number 19, appoint Brendan Carton to the position of computer operator in the IT department. This is a current employee. Approval of certificate sewer registrations. Number 21, accept, receive, file drainage easement and access easement for the Tappan Fire District site plan. Number 22 is authorizing the candle agreement. Number 23, award the HVAC to Lombardo Plumbing and Heating. Number 24 is the approval of the installation of a street light on Hobart Street between East Lewis and East Carroll. This is on the recommendation of the Traffic Advisory Board. Then we have some lend assistance for the Rockland GA Memorial 5K Run, which is March 25th, and the St. Patrick's Day Parade, which is on March 19th, and then the audit. Okay, so can I get a motion to open the public comment?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
We're not doing a public hearing?
I'll second.
All
But
right.
no one signed up for the public comment, so I don't know, should we? See how it
No,
goes?
you can open, you can open it.
What's that? Yeah, well, I was going to, there's no one signed up, but I will see if we get, how much we get. We can always bag out if we have to. Okay, so this is the first part we're going to do is just the general public comment. If you want to speak on any of the public hearings, we would just ask that you wait until the public hearing comes up. For the public hearing, you get 5 minutes. For the regular public comment, you get 3 minutes. So is there anybody here who wants to speak? Oh, I'm sorry, I made them, we do have someone who signed up. We have Jerry Goggins signed up.
Jerry Goggins, 66 Sickletown Road. How are you? In reading the proposed amendment to the town law written and submitted by RCW, pardon me, one might be moved to ask, what are the implications of this proposal? What changes could be expected if this proposal was adopted? A careful reading of RCW's proposal reveals several clues about the intentions of the drafters. I'm going to speak about one of those clues. In the most recent draft of the proposal, and only in the most recent draft of the proposal, a new term appears, farm cidery. Now, why is this term significant? In order to answer that question, I need to give you a little information about the different licenses that are available from the New York State Liquor Authority. RCW currently holds a farm winery license. This license permits the production of cider, the sale of liquor and beers produced in New York State, the serving of the cider on site and the liquors and beers, and all those alcoholic products. There are also extensions available to this license that will permit the sale of non-New York State liquors and other alcoholic products, the operation of a farm distillery, and the operation of a farm brewery. So there's a lot of capabilities within that license. But in addition, and this is the important difference, the New York State SLA farm winery license requires that the cidery is located on a farm. Now, the SLA does not check whether the intended premises are actually on a farm. They take the applicant's word for it unless they're otherwise informed. By contrast, the other license that's kind of parallel to this is the farm cidery license. Now, the farm cidery license grants exactly the same permissions as the farm winery license, with one exception, because otherwise why have two licenses, right? And that exception is that a farm cidery license, despite its name, interesting contradiction, does not need to be on a farm. It can be located anywhere. So the contrast between these two licenses is the current license is a farm winery license. It must be located on a farm, hence all the emphasis that you've been hearing on a farm, I suspect. And a farm cidery license does not need to be on a farm. Now, if it doesn't need to be on a farm, it doesn't need any of the things that we might debate representing a farm in our minds. And the question here is, of course, why was this term introduced only in the most recent draft of this proposal? I believe it has a purpose there, and I believe the purpose is, it seems to me, to move to a farm cidery license. And Susan McWhinney will now talk about what happens in that eventuality. Thank you very much.
Susan McWhinney?
Susan McWhinney, 66 Sickletown Road. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I would like to elaborate on a few points found within the proposed town law written and submitted by Rockland Cider Works and connect them back to Jerry Goggins' brief discussion regarding farm winery and farm cidery licenses. RCW's proposed local law amendment tells us a lot about RCW's vision for the future. A few key points. The town board shall grant special use permit with reasonable conditions. Who determines what is reasonable and by what enforceable metrics? The special use permit would remain in effect and run with the land until such time as the land use changes. The RCD proposed law is so intentionally vague that the phrase use of land only conveys that an ongoing tangential relationship to agriculture is required to continue a special permit once approved. Agricultural operations shall include any activity engaged in by or on behalf of a farmer in connection with the furtherance of the business of agriculture or farming, and shall include, without limitation, construction of farm structures and facilities, including farm wineries, cideries, and other on-farm food processing. A farm winery or farm cidery could meet this criteria, as could a housing complex centered around a farm, a camp with a farming program, a Home Depot store, or a slaughtering house. As permitted by local and state building code regulation, construction and maintenance of certain farm buildings and other structures related to agricultural practices, in other words, any structure can be constructed as long as it meets building code regulations and can be related to agricultural practices, an incredibly vague term. There are no limitations noted here with regard to what can be built, where on the property it can be built, what size it can be, or what activity it is constructed to house. Some of the permitted general accessory uses noted in this language state: A, building and or portable structures for the use of patrons, structure or shed for an on-site equipment and material, building and or portable structures for the retail sale of products related to agricultural activities and agritourism, including but not limited to cider. That's 3 new buildings, and this does not address a manufacturing space or parking. Some of the buildings that are on the property are simply going to have to go, right, to make way for at least 4 new buildings. Should we start with the greenhouses? They cannot be legally used to house cider activities. Maybe they can get rid of the barn, the horse barn, right? Because that's a big space. And maybe they could get rid of the farm stand, provided they have a farm cidery license. Just very quickly to quote Maya Angelou, when people tell you what they intend to do, believe them. When people write a law that gives them permission to do anything, believe them. Thank you.
The next is Sheann Haley, if I'm saying it properly.
Hi, I'm not Sheann Haley, I just stole the remote control. Sorry about that.
Hi, Sheann Haley, 126 Piermont Ave, South Nyack. And thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. So I've lived in the Nyack area for more than 15 years. And in that time, I have visited Van Houten Farms for produce, plants, garden supplies, pumpkins, and Christmas wreaths. So the full seasonality of purchases from that farm stand. And I have prioritized these needs to that farm stand over big box stores because I think it's really critical to a community to have these local businesses, particularly those with such entrenched history within a residential community. The proposed change in zoning could allow, by the Rockland Cider Works, RCW, could allow unchecked growth and expansion by the Rockland Cider Works. This area is an historic residential neighborhood with homes that date to the 18th century, the tunnel, which is amazing, a reservoir, a school, the Birchwood School, a farm stand, and a nursery, and a riding stable, one of the last remaining in Rockland County. This area is unique and special. The proposed changes to the zoning are, from my perspective, based on what I have read, overly broad and do not constrain issues related to traffic, solid waste management, sewage demands, noise, proximity to the reservoir, or safety issues. Any and all of these would lead to a permanent change to the residential, family-focused character of this part of Rockland County. Maintaining the current, long-standing characteristic of this neighborhood are important to me as a town of Orangetown constituent and resident. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Okay, that's the last person that signed up for the general public comment. Is there anybody else who wants to speak? Mike?
Good evening Supervisor Kenny and members of the town board, Michael Mandel, resident of Pearl River. Having driven around Orangetown for the last several days from Nanuet down to Tapan, Pearl River, Orangeburg, I noticed that there's still quite a few buildings in this town that still do not have street addresses on them. And in time of emergency response by ambulance or police, it takes a little more time and it could be life-threatening. So I just ask that next time the town puts out, or you put out your newsletter, that you include that in there. And it's, you know, after all these years, you figure people would still put up numbers, but not yet. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mike.
That's it. Anybody else? Andrew?
Andrew Wiley, property owner in Orangetown. Good seeing you guys. It's been a while.
What's up?
How you doing?
Welcome back.
Thank you. Probably not going to be back very often. So couple questions I have regarding the comprehensive plan. I own property in Spark Hill.
Okay, I'm sorry, about the comp plan?
Oh, no, okay. Then I'll talk in general, because that...
Yeah, this is general, right, just if
That's
you
fine.
go right.
All right, so in general, regarding some issues with regards to like building permit fees and things of that nature, I would hope that this board would consider, because of what we're going to be facing headwinds for a lot of business owners, a lot of property owners, that there might be a way where you can eliminate or reduce the upfront costs that the people that are looking to make improvements to their either commercial or residential properties would have to endure. The reason I'm saying this is, you know, if you have an application and you're putting in X amount of fees, you're paying for outside consultants, you're paying all the other things along with the building permit fees, what impact fees and all that, that I don't think it's unreasonable that the money doesn't have to be all 100% up front, and that it could be given conditional based upon issuance of the building permit. So my request is you think about having some sort of graduated type of situation so that the businesses that are looking to make improvements but may not have the capital to lay out, and they're delaying their decisions because of that. Because you could have a small application, it could be like $1 million application, and it could be like $30,000, $40,000 in different fees up front, along with escrow and all the other fees that you have to deal with. So I would hope that you really would consider that. I don't know how you would address that, but I think with the way things are going in the economy, the headwinds are amongst, you know, inflation and what have you. So, I mean, that's pretty much what I'd like to see. And I'd be interested to hear your comments or thoughts if you guys have any ideas on how you can address that. You know, I'm not asking you to reduce the revenue or the fees per se, just to work with the payment method, rather than being upfront, have some sort of payment method that works for the applicants. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else who has not signed up that wants to speak right here in the front? I'm sorry. Yeah, absolutely. And please, if you just would say your name for the record.
Hi, I'm Margaret Ann Thompson, and there's a sign in front of 27, or I guess it's 25 Old Japan Road. The sign is leaning and needs to be straightened out. And I have another question. I like what the gentleman just said about helping the commercial spaces in the times of COVID. It's been very difficult for many commercial owners that have had people that have gone away. It's been very, very difficult. In my situation, I own a commercial building, 25 to 29 Old Japan Road, and we've lost 2 tenants to COVID, and we've had a terrible time. And so I believe that he is on track there. It's been about 2.5, and now it's been about 3 years, going on 4, that we've had no rent at all. And it looks very good. We've worked on it. I painted the building. I've gotten new tenants in there, but we have no rent there. And so it's very upsetting. There is that sign that is leaning. It looks terrible.
What does the sign state, ma'am?
What is it?
It says, from here to the corner, no parking, but the sign itself is loose, and it could fall down and hurt someone. And I have one other thing to ask you about, which I didn't ask in the past, with the historic district, because it is the historic district that my grandfather had zoned historic years and years ago in '65. I have a question on Main Street there. I believe they took out the Main Street sign, and they put in private first class Dietrich, which was very nice. It's a wooden sign. But I question why they took away the Main Street sign, because the Jensens there have a store that's 118 Main Street, and the 76 House and all of the other stores there use the Main Street address. So I don't know if that's a legal issue or not. You might want to look into it. But something is a little bit strange, because the Main Street is the Main Street. And the private first class Dietrich is a beautiful sign for beautiful private first class, but we do need the Main Street sign in Japan to be there for the 76 House and for the other commercial and residential homes there on the Main Street. That's all I have
Thank
to
you.
report.
Thank you.
All right.
You got
Thank
it?
you very much.
Usually
Thank you
they
for
do.
listening.
Yeah.
When they put the blue sign?
Barbara? Yeah, I thought they did too, but,
I mean, every.
I've been, Barbara
Yeah.
Jello Blauvelt.
The blue one.
I've been away for over a week, and when I came back, I found out there was new additions to the comp plan stuff. And what I wanted to talk about was a number of things have happened that have all made me feel like there's getting to be a further distance between the people and the elected officials who actually work for the people, represent the people.
all of the people, Barbara. We represent all of the people.
Yes, I
Okay,
understand that.
just making sure.
Can I have those minutes back? I went to the library to read these new comments in the addition, and they said the latest version of the comp plan is not in the library. I understand the Facebook place for comments under the town board meetings. You're not allowed to comment. I think when I was working on the comp plan, I'm not an attorney, I was thinking of Nancy Pelosi saying about Obamacare, which I've worked a lot on, that we have to pass it before the people get a chance to read it. And I have read a couple, over 1,000 pages on this comp plan, and it's difficult when you have to go to your computer and look up what all the words mean. because I don't, you know, I'm not a Realtor, I don't understand Realtor things, and I have to research them. So I think it would be helpful to have things in interest of transparency, put things in language that people can understand. And even the tone in town hall is less helpful. Somebody even said, somebody told, you don't listen to her. So I just wanted to say that please consider that we want to participate in government. That's kind of what democracy is. And that the people shouldn't be excluded from input into the town, be it on this issue or others. And so I don't want, and I see progressively as big government and computers and everything has to be done on the computer, I don't want this to become an oligarchy here with a few people who go to expensive fundraisers, the only one with access to the elected officials. And, you know, I'm concerned about that. And I know there have been times when certain individual members have taken the time to speak to me. But I think overall, when you hear all these things, that it does make you feel that way. Thank you so much.
Is there anybody else who wants to speak at the, I'm sorry, that hand right there. Again, keeping in mind, this is the general public comment.
Joyce Taub, Town Line Road, Orangetown. I sent a more detailed email to all of you just a short time ago when I thought I wouldn't be able to be here this evening. So I'll give an abbreviated version of that now, and I hope that you haven't forgotten what the RCW complaint was about. They were detailed. I'm more emotional about the issue, and I'll leave the details to everybody else. When I was a young girl, I was taught not to handle things twice. If something needed to be done, and I had it virtually in my hand, I was not to put it down until I could get around to it, make the decision, finish the task, do it while it's on my mind. In my naivety with matters of town and government, I don't know why we're still debating the same issues over the legality of an entertainment and liquor business in a residential neighborhood. I see good money thrown after bad in terms of legal fees. I see time wasted month after month by all of us. When we needed a new roof on our home in Orangetown, we had to seek town approval and pay a fee, get a permit, and have the work done. I didn't see why, since I wasn't asking for any public funds to pay for it, but we followed the laws and did it as was required. Everyone's supposed to follow the law. That's why you devote your time to making the laws and enforcing them. But there's still an elephant in the room, and that elephant's an illegal cidery that defied the zoning laws in place. And now, years later, the issue on the table is to change the laws to suit what was illegally gained. I applaud you for having put a temporary stop on the business and hope we can count on you to return the business back to its original neighborhood-friendly space. Thank you once again for listening.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else who wants to speak on the general public comment section? Okay, seeing no hands, can I get a motion to close?
Motion, please.
Tom Divity, motion to close, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so now can I get a motion to open the public hearing on the demapping of Second Street?
A motion to open the public hearing on demapping of
Okay.
Second Street.
Tom Divity, second. Jerry Vitale, in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Town Attorney, you want to give a?
Sure, there
you
was
wanna
a,
have the app- yeah.
yeah, there's a petition filed by the owners of properties adjoining what's a piece of property identified as Second Street on the town tax map. The petitioner is represented by Mr. Brenner, who was here, so,
Is this basically a paper street?
yes.
Paper Street.
So if you want to take over, you can.
Primarily, prior to zoning in the town of Orangetown, we had land developers that just carved up properties, and they made streets which they felt was going to feed all these areas. These became phantom streets They really don't exist outside of the paper which is shown on our map, and primarily the residents which border these paper streets are requesting that you abandon them so that they can use part of the property and add it onto theirs.
So, and just one of the conditions that we put on there is that it would not create a separate lot that you could put a separate building on.
Okay.
It's really, for use. I mean, look, the town is being asked to take it out of the map, and that's what it's doing, if it approves this. To the extent the neighboring property owners may utilize it, that's for them. They can get quitclaim deeds, et cetera. But we do ask them to file a restrictive covenant, and they have given me one, that they cannot create a new lot for putting on a new building. So that's part
So
of it.
by adding that to their property, they're not increasing it enough to get a sub,
Right, and typically it adds enough to, for FAR, things of that nature, if they want to expand the house. And,
I mean-
and as a practical matter, if you go there, it's between Crooked Hill and Carroll Street.
That's where
They're
the-
being in use,
You-
frankly,
you
anyway,
have
by
a
the
couple, right, when you're-
neighboring property
I
owners.
grew up on a
Yeah,
paper street.
yeah, no, I mean, Tom and I did real estate, so we're very familiar with them. Other people must be like, what are they talking about?
We showed you pictures, they
Yeah.
actually use them.
That's Maple Shade.
I know. Okay,
Yeah.
so, thank you, sir. No one signed up to speak on it. Is there anybody who would like to speak on this particular demapping of Second Street? No, no, okay, thank you.
And just, I'm sorry, there was a typo on paragraph 3 of the resolution. 3C says 69 feet in length, it should be 105.69 feet in length, and D should be
That's in the legal
105.50.
description, right?
Those two got,
Okay,
yeah, those two got, it was just typos.
okay,
It was correct in the notices.
okay. So on that, can I get a motion to close? Jerry, second. Tom, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and can I get a motion to authorize removal of Second Street from the town tax map from West Carroll Street to West Crooked Hill Road in Pearl River? Motion?
Motion.
Is that Brian? Okay, second.
I'll second it.
Paul, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, number 6. We're going to, can I get a motion to open or continue the public hearing from January 24th on the consider the adoption of the Orangetown Comprehensive Plan? Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Brian, second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let me see here what we got. Okay, so no one signed up, but I know there's people here to speak, so can by a show of hands, anybody who wants to speak on this is on the comprehensive plan, please raise your hand.
Wayne Gabriel.
Barbara Dello?
Barbara Dello, Blauvelt. I urge you to vote no on the comprehensive plan and to continue or revert to the existing zoning that has kept our town so nice. And things can be adapted through variances without changing the whole zoning, I believe. My reasons are primarily that the overarching goals for the comp plan are not what we want this town, most of us. Including equity, the sustainability, they should be done individually. And equity requires government intervention to achieve certain goals for the populations. The fact that once approved, all future zoning must be in accordance with the goals set forth in the plan, according to state law and literature. That it does seek to increase density throughout the town. Frequent recommendations in the plan to buy into many state programs. And this is important because you might they might offer you a grant if you take this program, but then if you go to the website of what that program means, a lot of other things come along with it that you have to do, including things like programs to educate students about the religion of environmentalism. And I don't think that should be, that's a danger, and you may take the money for the playground, and you may end up getting all this other stuff. And that's, I think, must have been, 10 or 20 times in the plan that they were referring you to programs in New York State that would help you implement this plan, which many of us don't want, and would be part of a larger UN sustainability plan, as well as the HUD land fairness goals. One example of this is Complete Streets. And if you notice in the name of that program, it says complete. You know, it's not like one or the other. The program in total would also add must cost and therefore increasing taxes. Simply put, in accordance with the said about the UN sustainable and redistributive goals, as well as HUD land fairness goals. One more thing. Also, I cannot understand how, I don't know if this is still in it because I didn't get a chance to read the adaptions that came out in March, but in all previous plans, they were talking about zoning that would allow like 6-story buildings near the Pearl River train station, and I simply cannot understand how multiple one-bedroom apartments, particularly near a bar area, would bring anything but trouble. Thank you very much. Oh, I have 1:10 left. Maybe I could think of something else to say, but I am concerned because I think we're going to be, if adopted, and buying into the Sustainable Development UN redistribution goals, it would really, really, really make a big difference. And once you buy into the program, then you really can't say no. So that's it. Thank you so much for listening.
Okay, so before I call anybody else up, I just want to make something extremely clear. This plan, the draft plan, was drafted after multiple in-person outreach programs. We had hundreds, no, it was not 2, it was 3, and there was an online survey, and there was one online, and we had hundreds of people showed up to express their opinions about what was important to them. The committee, there's a comprehensive plan committee, working with the planners, gathered this data, and we took what was said by hundreds of people, and we went through it, and obviously there's differences when you have hundreds of people. We tried to find the common, the majority of people what they wanted. At times we reviewed it independently, and the data's in there. If you bother to look, it's in there. There are people who support the TOD. There are people who support. There's people that don't. So we worked on it, and we came up with we thought what the majority of the community wanted and what the committee agreed with. Every one of those meetings was public. Every one of our committee meetings was public. So to stand up here and say that this is a plan that the oligarchy came up with is just false. You may not agree with it, and that's okay, but recognize that there are others who do agree with it, or parts of it.
Who picked the people on the committee?
I'm not going to get into a back and forth. They were appointed by this town board. They are, and this town board hired the planners to develop a plan. This is not my plan. This is not the Comprehensive Plan Committee plan. It's not the planner's plan. It was a plan that was garnered from the comments and the input and the surveys, and there's plenty of data to support what's in here. You might not agree with it, but that doesn't mean that it's not what the majority of people agree with. Keeping in mind, nothing in this plan requires this town board to make any particular zone change, to make any particular land change. It gives them a policy plan that if they decide down the road, this town board, after public hearings and after public input and after environmental, they decide that they want to make a change, they can do it because it's consistent with our plan. To be honest with you, some of the changes we make are not consistent with our current plan, and we could be challenged. You know, as the town attorney said, we should be amending our comprehensive plan every time we do something that's not in our plan. So the point of this is that this is not my plan, it's not the planner's plan. This was from hundreds of people, and we have the data to support it, and it's in here. You can disagree, but don't start saying that it's an oligarchy and that someone's trying to shove a plan that does not include the thoughts and opinions of many residents of the town of Orangetown. On that note, who would like to speak next? Right here, I'm sorry, I should have your,
Yes.
I should have your name from beforehand.
Televised,
Mary Ann.
and they can't hear you if you're not up there.
I haven't looked at the comprehensive plan, but if this is the land that is near the police department in Pearl River, where the military building is, the post office, and there's a little restaurant there, are you seeking to beautify that for historic reasons? Where they used to have the Muddy Brook and all of that area right there, is that the historic part that you're seeking to do a comprehensive plan on? Because
We don't normally answer questions while you're sitting there, but you can give your questions and we can answer at the end.
So the short answer is no.
it's not by the...
It's for the whole
I'm
plan.
sorry, it's for the whole town.
It's for the whole town. And is it historic, though? Is it historic district?
It does include a whole chapter on historic preservation and historic districts.
That area of Pearl River is historic. It's by the train station there,
That's
right?
fine. That's
There's a
been
train
questions.
station.
Okay, we're not going to answer any more questions. We really can't. When you're done, we can address some of them.
You can always send your question in. The comprehensive plan is available. It is
It's on the website if you want to look at it.
And it does address the entire town.
So you're renovating Pearl River
No.
strictly, or just,
It's the whole town.
okay, I haven't,
It's on the town
Preview.
website. You might want to take a look.
well,
And this has been on the agenda at this town board meeting for at least 8 months, maybe a year. So
absolutely, absolutely.
it's been discussed in great detail, and it's available to read, and we'll do take comments, any kind of comment you have on it.
Well, I'm for it because the COVID has destroyed everyone. And so I think that it's a good try because I think things are very grim. And I'm very saddened by everything. There is a post office there, and it is a historic part of Pearl River. And so I would be for it, but I haven't read it yet, so I don't know, how expensive and how much it'll change all the taxes and everything. But it might be lovely, to have that part of Pearl River to be charming, because they have a lot of buildings there that are near the trains, so.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else would like to speak that hasn't? Mike, did you have your hand up?
Mike,
Wayne.
I know.
I think that's about.
Good evening, Supervisor Kennedy, members of the town board. Michael Mandela, resident of Pearl River. I've read through I guess it's about the fourth or fifth time going through the revised comprehensive plan. Just a few comments under it. Quite a few of the things that I know that have been suggested in the past by different people have been incorporated into it, and I thank the board for doing that. Under Objective 2, diversity of housing, townhouses, mixed use and apartment building style condominiums to maintain the character of the town. I just think something should be added in there, limited to no more than 3 stories, so we don't have high rises built in. Secondly, existing land patterns, page 27. It describes the commercial area of Pearl River as North Middletown Road and East Washington Avenue. It should be revised by deleting East Washington, adding East and West Central Avenue and North and South Main Streets. This problem was corrected on page 33, but still exists at page 27. Under 2018 TOD Opportunities Analysis for Pearl River, pages 145 and 146 concluded with existing urban form around the train station could accommodate a greater mix of uses, higher density of land use and taller buildings. Here again, I think maybe that last sentence should be removed because they're talking about taller buildings, and it's still a low-rise town. The last buildings, the two packed buildings that have been constructed there, or buildings that have been reused, are all 3 stories, and I think it fits in exactly, and nothing should be higher than that within the town. Again, I just wanted to talk about the limited use of fossil fuels as a source of energy supply, page 222, bullets 2 and 4, which prioritizes renewable energy sources to supply 100% of our energy need and to upgrade and retrofit existing buildings. The idea is laudable, but economically impractical. The cost of renewable energy is more expensive. It is not as reliable as fossil fuels at this time, as we've seen with the buildings coming into our processing centers, and that it fluctuates. As we've seen, it's at the mercy of the weather conditions, as we've seen in California and Texas with the problems they've had with using the fuel. Plus, you got to remember, windmills kill birds, which nobody seems to care about anymore, including endangered species, whatever else. Offshore, where they're drilling to find places for wind turbines, we find that it's killing the whales. Even though they don't admit it, it's no consequence that all these whales have come up on shore because they're destroying their sonar. Further upgrading or refitting of existing buildings is cost prohibitive and might result in increased taxes, and it'd be a negative in attempts to attract new businesses to the town. Last thing, land use, zoning, and design, page 227, under additional uses, LI, LO zone. Please remove motel. There's a sufficient supply of hotels in Orangetown, nearby in Clarkstown, and Woodcliff Lakes, New Jersey. If one looks at the motels along Route 303 and other parts of the county, in my opinion, they do not reflect the community character and might be used just as storage for people they can't find housing for. We might see what we see in New York City with people being just put at the hotels willy-nilly. So just ask that those things be reconsidered, and thank you again.
Thanks, Mike. Okay. Wayne, you had your hand up.
Thank you, members of the board. I have not had an opportunity to fully review the revised master plan because it only came up, I believe, in a week. So I think it would be unfortunate for this board to proceed without giving the public that opportunity. I do see that there have been changes, and I do appreciate those changes. I think it's reflective of what this town is all about, what the people have sought from the very beginning, what the people who put you into office always wanted. So I do congratulate the people who are putting together this plan and reflecting some of the comments that have been made. Thank you very much. However, we're not quite there yet. And I think we need additional time to review it. I think that this is a complex plan. I always come back to the one thing. Why are we fixing something that isn't broken? Why? The town of Orangetown is the most attractive town in this county. Take it from me, I work here 7 days a week. I do real estate 7 days a week. Nobody says anything about the town of Orangetown. We have three great school districts, actually. So I don't know why we're looking to change that which isn't broken. I've looked at some of the comments, and I acknowledge that they have corrected some of the major errors that were in the original proposal to overpopularize this area, to recreate the Bronx. I have said from the beginning. I think this is a fatally flawed plan. The sequel was not given to the county until December 2022? What does the law say? The law says at the earliest point in time, secret is to be reviewed. Why? Because everything that you're looking at has to be looked at from an environmental perspective. That wasn't done. It just wasn't. It went ahead with a plan without looking at the environmental issues until December. The horse was already out of the barn. You already were committed to revising the master plan. And I understand, nobody knows better than me. I wrote your current code, that eventually this needs to be implemented into a zoning change. And we will get a chance to object to each and every one of those. But a master plan is a view, it's a vision of what you want this town to look like. That's what you're doing here. It's a vision. What's wrong with the town of Orangetown? Not much. Not much. It has a certain character, and I just quickly looked at some of this stuff, quickly. The comprehensive plan provides a description of data which will be addressed in advance. What does that mean? What does that even mean? The demographic subsection has been updated. Okay. I don't know what it has been updated to. The sustainability and climate resiliency will be addressed in the future. A strategy has been added to recommend. What strategy? We need to know what this strategy is. I can go on and on. The information of the outcomes of the 2003 comprehensive plan is not readily available. Objective 2, Goal 1. There will be considered at such time as the town board pursues updating the code. What does that mean? The specific measures to limit traffic in the hamlets will be addressed in the future. What does that mean? You're adopting a plan that we don't even know. The comment is more appropriate to implement when the zoning is implemented. As such, it is not included. And on and on and on. The open issues are not addressed. They simply are not addressed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who has not had a chance to speak? Tom Kleiner.
Thank you. I would like to discuss two issues, housing and its relationship to the comprehensive plan. So first, with regard to housing, I recently attended a meeting of the Westchester County Association of all Westchester State Senators and Assembly members, all Democrats, all of whom were opposed to varying degrees with Governor Hochul's housing proposal, especially the requirement that local municipalities rezone within 1/2 mile of any municipal train station. Amy Paulin, for example, one of the more liberal state reps, said that the proposal was quote-unquote dead on arrival. And for us, forced rezoning within 1/2 mile of the Pearl River train station is surely dead on arrival, as members of this board have properly said. But that's not the end of the story. We don't know how this is going to end and what pressure might be applied to the town by outside forces seeking to force you to do what you do not wish to do. This is where the revised comprehensive plan before you tonight for your consideration comes into play. A strong, well-devised comp plan is the greatest protection that you have against any threats to local control, local zoning, and outside interference. So first, this is a strong plan. As supervisor, I worked on the 2003 revision with then Councilman Troy, adopted 20 years ago this May, and we came up with a good plan that has helped allow development in Orangetown to proceed cautiously and deliberately. But this plan is better. It's more comprehensive, it has had more public participation, and it uses technological tools not available to us 20 years ago. Supervisor Kenny and others who worked hard on it deserve the public's thanks for producing it. The plan provides many suggestions to allow you, as town board members, to address a wide variety of issues facing the town now and into the future, which brings us back to housing. The plan describes what everyone knows to be true. Young people, among others, need additional housing options so they can afford to stay in our town. The plan suggests various strategies and tools that you, the town board, may consider and use as you see fit to address that need. But without a plan, many of those tools may no longer be available for you to use and then to justify and defend your zoning decisions. And the town's response to any challenge brought to undermine or overturn those decisions would be compromised. So here's the bottom line. If some would suggest that any reference to housing be taken out of the plan, or if related recommended zoning tools are eliminated from the plan or significantly weakened, that is one sure way for the state, potentially, to prevail in a lawsuit, or any outside party to prevail when challenging your right to use home rule to determine the town's zoning destiny. The town attorney, Mr. Magrino, may agree with that, but I'll not ask him to weigh in at this moment. So, in conclusion, adopt this plan. Use it as a guide for your zoning and planning decisions, and reference it directly when you make those decisions. A strong comp plan is your friend and is the best protection you have to allow you to maintain home rule, to minimize the chances that zoning decisions will be imposed upon you by any outside government or any third party seeking to undermine your rightful and longstanding autonomy over local land use decisions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak that has not had a chance to speak? Andrew?
So a couple of comments. I haven't been to a lot of meetings, but I have been to a lot of meetings over the many years. Yeah. Regarding the comprehensive plan, I have seen different revisions. I guess I share some concerns about the, things going put in the last final, I don't know if this is going to be the final or there's going to be a couple more iterations going forward. I guess it would be helpful to the public to have some sort of comment on your intention of, is there additional iterations that we're going to be seeing based upon comments and a variety of other factors that have been brought up now and, previously. I do think it does make the town better in many ways, some of the commercial ones, because the code in Orangetown was always having some problems. I've seen many zone changes that previous boards have given that I didn't agree with, but they were given. I have seen floating plans or floating zoning. I don't know how I'd be interested to hear how the comprehensive plan will address the floating zones that are already currently in place. I think there's a lot of opportunities for people to basically say things about the board members and the interests and all the other things that are going there. And it's pretty unfair in some aspects. I mean, I myself used to throw a lot of this at a lot of you. Not too many are still on the board, but Mr. Troy is one. Unfortunately, I was not too nice to him at various stages, along with other
He
board
deserved it,
members.
Don. It's okay. No, we're
That's
back.
okay. But, I do believe that people do have the right to say what they believe. And I do think that there is an opportunity for this board to diminish a lot of the aspersions that are being brought about on any one of you collectively or individually. But my concern as a property owner is how is this going to be manipulated? Because the politics in this town can change at any given time. And I've seen, manipulations of the board, what they're saying, or what the public is saying, right? So inside of this, I haven't looked at this in great detail. I figure, you know what, it's going to go through, you guys are going to make whatever decisions you're going to make, and collectively, we'll live and deal with whatever that is. But as a property owner in Spark Hill, you know, I have my own reservations about certain things. Like, I do think there's some sensibilities in having mixed-use zoning with some limitations. I do have concerns that other towns in this county don't share that. And I believe that that's going to be a big problem for us going forward on many ways. I have come to this board in the past and told you how, from an assessment perspective, Orangetown has subsidized other towns in the county. And we don't get the same revenue back for police and other resources that the county does. And so my concern is, from a comprehensive plan also, is how is this going to deal with the assessments? Is that going to be something that's going to come up? Is there going to be more challenges in assessments, or are there going to be more opportunities for us to change the assessments? I know it's not a popular thing, right? But the assessments in this town have been outdated for many years, and there have been many property owners who have taken advantage of that, where they're low, and there are many that have been over-assessed. So I'm looking at it from that perspective. The other thing I want to say is, from an environmental perspective, I don't agree with state, town, federal, anyone putting conditions on environmental. I believe that's up to the owner applicant to make those determinations. And I think if you guys adopt anything that doesn't allow for me or an individual to make a decision with their own property, I would be strongly against that. I think it's too much, and the government is telling us too much what we can do with our property. They charge us too much for our property, and I just would hate to see more of that. So from the legislative perspective of conditions of environmental stuff, incentivize it. If people want to deal with it, let them. But don't take our choices away from us by mandating things. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you speak already? Yeah, I'm sorry, we only allow it once. I'm sorry. You can always submit comments.
Marian Gavioli, 14 WO Bauer Lane, Orangeburg, New York. I've been to several of these meetings. I saw that the revision came up recently, I guess it was last week, and I tried to flip through it as quickly as possible. I think it would have been helpful for us if there was some sort of presentation tonight on the major revisions, so that we could see, what happened between our last meeting, January, until today. But I just looked quickly at the response 36 and how you had this outlined by the county about this consolidating R22, R15. It seems like response to public comments, it was removed. So are those two zones being consolidated, or they're not being consolidated? I don't know if you
When you're done, we can bring up.
You can go through that,
We
yeah.
can ask the
My,
center.
my concern, and I know that this is after the fact, and you would have to have public hearings and CEQA on any zone change or downzoning. My concern was the page, I think it was 66 or around there, where there were contiguous zones right in Blauvelt between R15, R40, and we were going to change the R40 to R15. That's tripling the number of units. My concern, obviously, was the drainage, the environmental park, the traffic, everything, and that would have to be done later. I don't even think that should be considered, all right? But I would have liked to have some delineation of how it was changed between the 2 months and give us more time to look at it. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to come up, Ashley?
I have a summary of all of the changes, so I can just walk through them or give
Okay.
a brief overview. So we added some clarifications to the warehouse uses. There were some questions that had come in, so some clarifications were added. We added some additional information on the H&A property. We made some corrections about the park and ride lot, based on a comment received. We received some comments from Supervisor Kenny, which were all implemented, regarding some clarifications. And in particular, one of the things we changed was eliminating any references to duplexes, triplexes, and quads. The plan now refers to townhouses. In regards to the comments about the merging of the zoning districts, there's no longer any specific recommendations regarding the merging of specific zoning districts. Instead, it has more general recommendations about, addressing the concern, where that came from, was that there are a number of undersized residential lots. And so any homeowner in those lots, if they want to put a deck on their house or a small addition, or make some improvements, it may be very difficult for them to do so. They'd have to go through a variance process because the lot is undersized for the zoning district. So there's a general recommendation in there that the town could consider basically right-sizing those zoning districts. But it doesn't identify any specific lots. It made it more general. So it's completely at the board's discretion. There was a comment that we received about South Nyack Brook being added as one of the water courses, and that was added. And there was also, in regards to the commercial zoning district, it no longer recommends any specific merging of any specific commercial districts. So those were the major changes.
Okay, thank you. They were basically comments that some of the board members gave. I think they were incorporated, and a couple, like you said, from the public or anything like that. Okay, so is anyone who has not had a chance to speak on the comprehensive plan that would like to speak? Okay.
Can I go again?
No second chances, Wayne. You're lucky we gave you a first time. Okay. So,
So, I think that the comprehensive plan has moved in the right direction, but I didn't really have enough time, as a lot of the public didn't either, to go through the entire thing. I didn't receive it a week ago. I only received it a few days ago in between work and business. Unlike Nancy Pelosi, I want to read it before I approve it. So I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing, but it is moving in the right direction. So my recommendation is to put this off for 2 or 3 meetings so that we get a chance to review it. I don't know what date, we can pick that out with town clerk, but that's my recommendation. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
no, I'm done. I'm ready to adopt it. This has been going on 2 years. I understand that, that the final one was just given last week. It was, again, because of some of the comments that came in late. But obviously, if 3 of you want to wait, we will wait 1 more week, but you guys can read it and tell the planners what you want, because I'm done.
Yeah, I can either go with it or I can wait a week. I have no problem waiting a week. I'd say
April 11th.
we'll get April 11th.
The next meeting is the 21st or April 11th.
Isn't somebody not here April 11th? Somebody not here? Oh, it's May 11th, somebody's not here?
It's April 4th or it's the 21st, the 4th, or the 18th.
Wait. I don't, are you sure? No. No, it's the 11th and the 25th.
I think I have it right here. Yeah. It's right here in front of us. You guys tell me, I'm good, so.
If I could make one recommendation, is that you close the public hearing tonight, and that you could also complete seeker on the document tonight and consider the overrides for the Rockland County recommendations, and then vote at the next meeting on the actual comp plan.
The one, you can do the secret, yes, 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 you can do the secret resolution. Yes, yes,
You can.
you certainly can do that.
If we close the public comment, and Paul comes up with comments and he wants to change it, is that a problem?
No, I would not close the public, I would not close the public comment, but you can certainly do the secret resolution, sorry.
I'm not getting any younger. Yeah, we do it every 20 years, very true. Okay, so we're going to,
Oh, you're welcome.
number 7. We're gonna vote to continue it to April 11th at 7:05. Okay, so, yeah, yep, number 7. So can I get a motion to continue the public hearing to April 11th at 7:05?
I make a motion to continue the public hearing.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Brian, Daniel, in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So you don't want to do, you want to wait on the secret?
So what does that mean?
Okay. Okay. So then we are,
Aye.
So the state passed a law in 2021, or amended law in 2021, that provided for exemptions for certain solar or wind energy systems, farm waste, electric generating equipment, et cetera. All, it's in real property tax law, section 487. And it basically provides for an exemption to the extent that there's an improvement on the property, which results in an increase in the property's value. So a local municipality may opt out of giving this property tax exemption if it adopts a local law. We received frankly, a letter from an entity who was looking to do a project, a large-scale project in Spark Hill, I believe, and they're required to notify us of their intention and notify us of the option to opt out. So our research, and discussion with the board is whether or not it wants to do that opt-out. If the board doesn't opt out, it does require a negotiation, or could require a negotiation of a pilot agreement with this entity that's coming in. It's a policy decision for the board. My recommendation is to do the opt-out, and then, you can always address something later. But this does provide a pretty significant tax exemption for that project, which, in looking at Paul's face, I think he doesn't want to give it.
I'm opted out.
okay.
So that's what the law is about.
Is there anybody here that would like to speak on this public hearing? Andrew?
I'm sorry, before you get up, Andrew, and don't count this towards this time, I do have an affidavit of publication from the Journal News Media Group, and an affidavit from the town clerk indicating it was posted appropriately. Thank you.
So, to be clear, it's number 13 we're talking about?
12.
Okay. 11?
But 13 has the law there.
13 is the
11,
law.
12, and 13.
Okay.
But yeah, we're on 11.
So, I guess for clarification, what is the exemption and what's the amount and where are those funds coming from?
It's basically a pilot program if you have wind, solar.
I got it, okay.
So they get a tax
Comes
break.
from the rest of the taxpayers.
Yeah, so they make money and you pay for it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I gathered. So, like, again, I don't particularly like it. I don't like what they did on 304. I don't like, it's like an eyesore. I grew up here, my family's been here for over 100 years. And I too share a lot of the sentiment that some of the people have talked about, like keeping it the way it was. In reality, it's not gonna be that way in the future. But to have all these, you know, I mean, if it's on a private residence or a private building, that's their business. But if it's going and it's asking the town for special stuff, that's a different thing. I know we changed the code to allow for exemptions for building permit fees for things of that nature. So I guess my question is, how will this potentially impact it if this goes forward? There are many ways to fix these problems that we're going to probably face, but I don't think that, having certain companies get benefits while the rest of the residents don't. I'd be interested if every resident got the benefit, right? Whatever that benefit is. And if you can define what the benefits are. I'd be really interested, whoever's in favor of this, if they could define what the benefits are, from an economic perspective, from an environmental perspective, and from to me, it's like littering, It just doesn't, it's not an attractive thing to look at. It's almost like robotic. It's like artificial intelligence on steroids, and it's going to be sprinkled all over the place. And I don't think that it makes sense, for us to subsidize these things. Now, if a private investor wants to do that and they get federal things and stuff like that, but from a town perspective, a state perspective, and a county perspective, I don't think we're in the business of providing advantages to certain groups and disadvantaging the rest of the people in the town. So that's all I have to say on it. I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity. Thanks. Take care.
Okay, is there anybody else who'd like to speak? Yes.
In regard to the comprehensive plan.
No,
No, it's just on
just
it's
on
just
this.
on
Okay, in
public
regard to the energy plan, does any of this involve not just New York State funding, but also federal funding for environmental protection? Because the fossil fuel situation without Keystone and without the Alaskan pipeline has changed in this country in the past year. And I don't know if all of you are aware of it, but I've been made aware of it. And to throw away this kind of energy is something that I think we have to consider ourselves again about. And it has to do with not watershed, it has to do with environmental protection, not just for municipalities and towns, but for even everything. And that, I think, is very important to consider going into 23, 24. Okay, that's it.
Rob, just to clarify, we're opting out, and that means if you want to do this kind of energy, you're going to pay the Orangetown their fair share of taxes.
The state passed the law giving them an exemption.
And we're saying,
This
if
is
you want to
opting
do it
out
in
of that
Orangetown,
exemption.
we're opting out of the state law. Pay us our money, because you're going to make money.
No,
All
not
right,
like the last
That's
two.
about it.
Well, it's right, and it's to the extent of the improvement. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I thought you meant in terms of giving the exemption. It's to the extent of the improvement. So if there's a property worth that's, assessed at $100,000, and an improvement, increases the assessment, whatever the improvement costs, by $50,000, they would be exempt from that $50,000 or $1 million or whatever it is. So this law, the code, the state law allows you to opt out, and that's what this proposed local law is about.
I'll make a motion to close. Aye.
Moved.
I'll
Paul?
Aye.
That's opposite. What do we got? More local, more stuff?
Yeah, 14, this is the agreement. Can I get a motion to the agreement to basically extend the contract for the electrical connections at the Berger train station, charging station?
Moved.
Another 5 years. Tom Divany, move. Second.
Second.
Brian Daniel, in favor?
Aye.
Number 15, appoint members, there's to Michelle Gowan-Lorum and James Wilcox to the Orangetown Parks and Recreation Development Advisory Committee for a one-year term. Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
No.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Heard noises coming from over there. No.
That was me. I don't even know what I'm hearing anymore. I'm exhausted.
I can't say this, is Cioffi?
Chiaffi.
Ciaffi. Okay, motion to appoint Stephen Ciaffi to a member of the Board of Ethics for a 5-year term.
Motion.
Brian Donahue, second.
Second.
Tom Divany, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 17, accept the resignation of employee number 2709, effective March 7th, 2023. Can I get a motion?
Moved.
Tom Divany,
I'll second.
Brian Donahue, are you keeping?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so, roll call? Then we'll-
Well, you can just indicate he's abstaining.
He's abstaining. Jerry's abstaining. Oh. Okay, everybody else is good with that one?
Yep.
I said
All
all
in
in
favor? Aye.
Number 18, this is a motion to apply for funding for the fiscal year 24 community project funding. This is again for sidewalks on Middletown Road corridor project. I don't know if we're gonna get it, but we're gonna try. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
All right, Donnie, second.
Second.
Secretary, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 19, appoint Brendan Carden to the position of Computer Operator, Information Technology Department, provisional effective March 8th, 2023.
Motion.
Brian Donahue, second.
Second.
Yep, second.
Are you saying something?
I said second.
He
I
says
slept,
second, he says second, I'm like,
I slept like
I
2
think
hours
Tom
last
was-
night. I'm sleeping right now. Sleepwalking.
All in favor?
Aye.
Who'd you give it? Tom.
All right, thank you.
Number 20, approval of the 2023 certificate of sewer registrations.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Jerry, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 21, accept, receive, and file a drainage easement and access easement for the Tappan Fire District site plan. Motion.
Second.
I'll make a
And then
motion.
Jerry made the motion, he seconded it. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Number 22, authorize the agreement with Candle for the
Candle.
calendar year 2023. And Tom Divany move, second.
I'll second.
All
Brian
right.
Downey, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 23, award a bid for the HVAC service to Lombardo Plumbing and Heating, in the amount of $17,000, lowest qualified bidder. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve the installation of a streetlight at Hobart Street between East Lewis and East Carroll in Pearl River. Motion.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's combine it and approve agenda items 26 and 27, which are both under assistance. Motion.
Motion.
Brian Donahue, second.
Second.
Jerry Vitale, all in favor?
Aye.
And the audit.
Thank you.
Make it quick.
4 items or less.
Maximum of 4.
Exactly.
The audit for tonight's meeting consists of 4 warrants for a total of $1.5 million. Items of interest, number 2 and 3, the applied golf contracts.
You got 2
Number
left.
5, Capasso, $84,000 for recycling. Number 9, Joe Lombardo Plumbing and Heating, $168,000 for new town hall plumbing. Number 11, Coister Associates, $89,000 for sewer IDA replacement for flow. The number 15, the Office of Mental Health, $64,000 for utility charges. Number 16, Citizen Electric Motor Works, $64,000 for pump station cleaning and repair. And number 18, Stryker Medical, $64,000 for defibrillators. And that's an 8-year contract. Any questions on the
I have a
audit?
question. Number 13, remind me to Eric for this. Number 13, the Miracle Recreation Equipment for Cherry Brook? Cherry Brook equipment? Sorry. Eric's like, what? Miracle Recreation Equipment, $69.52.
Cherry Brook?
For Cherry Brook equipment? At Cherry Brook.
Aye.
President Pearl River. So can I get a motion to go into executive session?
And Brody Dividing, I had to put my dog down.
I was gonna do that, I'm sorry.
I'll make that motion.